Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final video in this series. And first of all, a very happy New Year. And hey, Tamal, how are you?
Yeah, hi Amritas. Happy New Year. I'm good.
Okay, thank you so much. And the final video, I think very aptly we have named the age of artificial intelligence. We truly believe that age of artificial intelligence is gonna start. Maybe 10 years, maybe 15 years, but it's gonna start. And it is something that we have to prepare for. We have to work very hard. And this is something that me and Tamal are gonna keep working on. And as you all know, and please, just to make you understand, this is not gonna be very much, very too detailed technical discussion. As you already know, this is a part of a 10 video series, and 9 videos already are out. So please make sure you have watched that. And this would be our last video in this series. Okay. And so, Tamal, I think we can all relax today
Yes,
and just have a small talk and maybe just try to
yes,
understand what we are discussing. Why is even all this important for us? And
yes.
at the end of the day, of course, the idea of artificial intelligence or automatons is not really new for us. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Actually,
I
it's
think
not
in
new.
modern computer science or even mathematics or common Quora discussions that Alan Turing was the first person like who really brought it to our attention, and he asked very important question: Can machines think, right? And
Yes,
so, of course, like we know what happened after that, and we are not gonna rehash the history and how things have worked. We have done quite a lot of work in last 9 videos. So now, really, to understand and like to understand the impact, like what do you think? And you have read this paper, so I just wanted to
yeah.
understand from you and kind of have
Mm.
a discussion like whatever Alan Turing said or whatever Alan Turing kind of mentioned, like what do you think about it? Like how relevant it is right now?
I think it's very relevant. I think it's one of our, I mean, see, over the past, thousands of years, we have had quite a number of significant inventions which actually propelled us to the next stage, being
Of
humans.
course.
From tool making in Stone Age to industrial revolution, now we are AI. Thinking of replicating our own selves. So it's like there has been this notion that God created man in His own image. So if you take that idea, and that now we are trying to create a machine in our own image. So it's like that. That's why the general intelligence, and so if you kind of take it as an analogy, so it's like one of the most significant inventions in, the invention, you can say, the artificial intelligence. Maybe it will surpass, maybe after say 100 years, 200 years, 500 years, if we continue to progress like this. But this AI, as you say, the intelligence. So we are naturally intelligent people. Every living species naturally. So we are trying to create that intelligence artificially, so that either it will help us and it will help us grow. So maybe it will be a situation where we'll both live in harmony. Both there
Yeah.
is a machine and there is a human, unless there is some conflict. But I think this age of AI is, I think, one of the most significant step forward in our own evolution. So we'll be evolving more, and this
Mhm.
is one of the significant step that we can take it with us. So, you can take it as a stepping stone to
Right.
move forward.
Absolutely right. No, I agree with you on this point. And of course, like we have talked about deep learning and pattern recognition fundamentally, and we have even shown even in novel architecture that how recent days even transformers and encoder decoder models have really broken through. Okay. And every day we are like learning about newer models coming. And I think very soon GPT-4 is going to be launched by OpenAI. And that would be like 100 trillion parameters, like mind-boggling stuff that's happening every day here. And even with ChatGPT, OpenAI has kind of put a like evaluation, and now Microsoft is trying to fully own OpenAI maybe and merge it with Bing and maybe even Windows. As a matter of fact, you never know.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, all this progress that I think that's happening with us, and this is of course moving way too fast. And we have heard about unsupervised learning, self-supervised learning,
Yes.
continual learning. All of that is gonna keep on happening. And one of the I think most exciting thing, and I think Jan LeCun also has said, is about
Yes.
self-supervised learning. And I will kind
Yes.
of mention to anyone who is looking and thinking, oh, where should my research area, or if I'm trying to decide what should be my research area into artificial intelligence would be, I would say maybe look into sparking neural networks, means on a hardware side and how even you can emulate what your brain does. Maybe look
Mm-hmm.
into neurosymbolic into terms of hybrid learning analogy and of
Yes.
course self-supervised learning, like how we because see even with chat gpt you can see they have like reinforcement learning, and at the end of the day there is no direct supervision. Of course you have billions of text and text related articles at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day humans are kind of working hard behind the scenes to set up the policy, and this is I think one of the major things that we want to do in self-supervised learning. So this is like our gonna be next generation of artificial intelligence. And all this, and of course, federated learning is just one another concept that kind of gets discussed like, okay, multiple machines are learning in parallel, and maybe at some
Mm-hmm.
point we can combine all this learning, and
Correct.
maybe even one model will not be good enough. But what if multiple models train separately, work separately, learn and relearn separately? But at some point, they can just amalgamate their knowledge or amalgamate their learnings, and that would be just amazing because it could help us learn so many different domains and maybe combine them, transfer their knowledge. This is just some stuff that our dreams are made maybe made up of, and
Yes.
as AI researchers, definitely we love to discuss about these things. And so I would like to pose a question here, rather than just
Yes.
thinking about these topics. That
Mm-hmm.
what are the like if as we are going forward, like if you had to place next 5 years 10 years of your life and you were like, oh, I have the right amount of money or right amount of the time available, so where would you put your interest in? Like, what would you try to research or what would you try to build where you think that would be the right stepping stone steps
Mm-hmm.
all the way till the true artificial intelligence?
Yeah, so probably I'll start researching more on all the architecture. Probably I'll spend more on understanding the human brain. I know there has been considerable amount of research has been done over the past many decades and so on and so forth. But I think understanding fundamentally how our brain works is key to achieving that level. One is understanding the human brain, and the second is consciousness. We are conscious. So there is this very short story called Meat.
Hmm.
Uh, I think it is by Eddie Bison, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So yeah, so it's a very short story and it's funny. I mean, at the end of that, at the end of the story, when the aliens dissect the human being and take out the brain, they all see is like meat and everything. Now they understand from there. They conclude that the brain is the one that is giving them everything. Other than if you take out the brain, it's just simple. Just a collection of bones and structures, a framework maybe.
You know,
The
even
brain is
even
what.
they are
Yeah,
very surprised that
yeah,
this carbon-based brain or carbon-based structure is producing any kind of
exactly.
intelligence. And but
Very
there is
yeah,
like
that's right.
in simple analysis, there is nothing amazing about it. Yeah, yeah.
Nothing. So if you take the brain and if you squeeze it, all you can see is just I know pulp juices, all everything will come out.
That's
It's
output.
nothing from. If you see from top, you don't see any much. It is just the same any other organ. But what is there inside it? That's what actually it is. So I'm speaking, you are hearing, you are also speaking. So we two are very different persons, but we still somewhere our interest aligned and we are talking the same thing. So it's amazing the brain how interest align and how it works when it finds. So it means that all the technologies that you see at the next generation, you take all the architectures and put it inside the brain. That's how brain is. But if you take if you take all the architectures now and put inside in a box and we expect to function like brain, it will not work.
Yeah, it would
So
not. It would not.
there's something missing. Something is there which is connecting everything. So I think that's where I like to focus.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
it is that's the driving. There has been books written by many great authors, um, AI scientists, researchers on this. What can be the thing? But everybody is just they are doing their own research and they're just thinking. It's not no one actually has cracked it. What is actually driving it? So that's one
Yeah.
area where I like to. Once you figure it out, then it will be easier to build something. But the figuring out part is a mystery. It's like still a black box.
Agreed. Like we have not figured out what or how brain really works, but I think my hope is in next 10 years we will learn about brain a lot.
Yes.
And I think even AI itself, whatever current form we are in, I will say yes, it is narrow intelligence. But AI itself is like pushing boundaries of research, scientific research, even just take drug discovery. AlphaFold 2
Mm.
or AlphaFold and AlphaFold 2 will definitely increase our efficiency in drug discovery, and we will see benefits from that in coming years, and even in terms of vaccine and like any kind of new disease or virus that might come, we might be able to work against that in much shorter time span and saving far more lives than we could have
Yes.
done just humanely
Mm.
or just like manually. So even if yes,
Yes.
maybe there is last 5 or 10% done has to be done by humans, but even if you take out the bulk of 90%, and an
Mm.
AI-based system can solve it, and maybe in real time, that is just mind-boggling. I'm not saying
Yeah.
ChatGPT is everything, but even
Exactly.
if ChatGPT could get 50% of my work done, I think that's a great
Yeah.
tool.
Exactly. I mean, all these foundation models or all these large language models are there to aid us. Actually, we are building them so that we don't have to do those, everything from scratch. So we tell the system to do something, then we'll work on that. So it's like a human machine synergistic environment where both machine and human are working towards the same goal. So it's like that. So we have so that our work gets divided and we can do more in less time. So and it will be accurate. So yeah, it's that next generation of AI. I mean, the next 10 years will be very, very important,
Very
and
crucial.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And one thing is system two thinking or something that we want to
yes,
develop. System one is like your very intuitive and very least conscious processing is required, but system two is different. You actually have to figure out how to handle novel situation. And the system one, system two framework is very active in our brain. But we still think that system two is something that we need to develop very well for artificial intelligence. And this is where the hybrid solutions are such in demand right now, where we want to combine the pattern recognitions on neural networks with the symbolic ones. But again, I think we have discussed that there could be different ways to go about it. There's not
yes,
one very agreed upon way. And I think that is an excellent area of research that, and even we will be kind of looking into that as we progress. So
hmm,
apart from neuromorphic computing or spiking neural networks,
yes,
another research area that we will be looking into is the neurosymbolic one itself. Yeah,
yes,
definitely. And of course, like we have been talking about causality, self-supervised learning, continual lifelong learning. And this is, of course, these are the big challenges that unless you do not inherently solve this, the
yes,
roadmap is just not going to be complete. There are going to be things missing because you don't want to just train things once or like you know,
mm,
and retrain it against whenever some new data point comes. You inherently want to keep it in a continual learning state, something which we humans are excellent at, that we keep learning new things, new ideas, and we keep adjusting against the old ideas or old mental models that we already have. So that is something that will come in really handy even for artificial intelligence.
hmm,
And we have talked about transfer learning, explainable AI, and AI consciousness is something that we did not talk about. Although I am very careful around consciousness because I think I mentioned to you, Tamal, that these discussions got very
yes,
muddy because consciousness
yeah.
still can become very subjective. But
It's
this is something
yeah,
that,
it's
yeah, please go on. Sorry.
no, sorry, I was cutting. So it's like the what consciousness itself is very subjective. It can be viewed from scientific point of view. It can be viewed from theological point of view. It can be viewed from philosophical point of view. So there are so many point of views around the one word consciousness. So it's very
Yeah.
difficult to pinpoint one such thing. Yeah,
It is like, according to me, it is like again that maybe I feel like um, it is like this massive elephant, and all of us who are investigating are like either blind or blindfolded, and whatever we are touching the part of elephant, we are saying it might
correct.
be a snake. If you're touching maybe the tail
Mm,
or something, and maybe you think the big foot is kind of a trunk or something. No one exactly knows because we
no one
just
exactly
have
knows.
not developed that knowledge, or our mental models are just not strong
Mm,
enough to express what this artificial intelligence might be, and similarly what consciousness might be. So we
yeah.
are able to recognize what is consciousness, and maybe most of the time we are able to recognize intelligent behavior as well. So we can see some intelligent behaviors in dogs, cats, dolphins as well. But the trouble is we are not able to explain it. And this is
Yes.
something that at some point when we will talk or when the idea of AI ethics will reign supreme. Because once you build these models, even with chat GPT and diffusion, stable diffusion models, there are some things that you cannot do. So you cannot ask
Mm,
chat GPT to criticize or make jokes about some religion or race. It goes ahead and
mm,
directly tells that it is not a good thing and we will not be doing it. Okay.
correct.
So yeah, the terms ideas of ethics are extremely important because such
Yes.
powerful technologies can also be misused to the disadvantaged ones. Okay. So this is
Mm,
something that we need to careful with this power, this technology. Even if we have not developed full AGI, even the partial narrow intelligence is so powerful in so many scenarios that you need to democratize it. And the good, I'm happy that our AI community has done an awesome job in democratizing AI models and knowledge, and I hope it continues to be so in future.
exactly.
And of course, we have talked about like what we want. We want this meta level architecture, which kind of has the system one, system two, artificial consciousness that selects or supports this high level generic cognition learning, which is similar to our narrative reflections and advanced planning of future scenarios.
Mhm.
You do want to have a better energy because, again, yeah, I was reading that how much energy ChatGPT must have taken to train, mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Once you
Yeah.
understand the calculations, you are like, this is like just too much. But we never know, like maybe the results that or the success or the profit that we will yield from it, it would be far better than whatever energy we have burnt. So there is always a give and take. Okay, there is always like if you're trying to cover something, there would be some spillage, right? You cannot just have like you cannot just have like a there is no free lunch at the end of the day. Something has to be given.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, of course, and then we have causal modeling, common sense modeling, one-shot learning, black boxes, creativity. So yeah, explainability is again a very big issue because
Yes.
with
It's a
most of the neural networks, even with ChatGPT, I could make an argument that even the researchers would not be able to explain why those answers are only selected, and sometimes when it gets wrong. So I think I sent you a picture one day that where I said write a four-letter word for happiness, something like that, right?
yeah.
Do you
Yes.
remember?
Yes. Yes.
Do
Yes.
you remember what happened over there? And it had three-letter words, five-letter words.
Yes.
So
Five
you could
letter words. Yes.
clearly
Yes.
tell,
Yes.
yeah, you could clearly tell there is a problem here. And I am
Yes.
fairly sure none of the OpenAI researchers would be able to explain why it is causing
Mm,
those mistakes. And
yes.
that brings to the safety, ethics, and trust issues. That how do I trust
Yeah.
these models? If I want to write
Correct.
some code using OpenAI Codex or GitHub Copilot, so simple stuff you can do, but complex coding is something that I am
Complex
not
coding. Yeah.
still confident about. I've tried different variations.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah,
That's right.
simple coding, maybe if someone is learning, yes, for them it's excellent too. But when you're trying
Correct.
to build a system, let's say which has never been built or it is its complexity is far, far way too much, which is much beyond like an example on the internet. I think that's where like OpenAI Codex and Copilot, GitHub Copilot, which is built on top of that kind of does not work very well for us. So still human expertise is required. So this is like all very
Yeah.
interesting, and we do
Exactly.
think
So all
about.
this,
Hmm.
yeah, when you see all these unknowns, you just imagine how much we have to know, how much we have to research in order to,
True.
get there. I mean, get to the human level intelligence. I mean, we take these things for granted, like we are there inside us. The brain develops through so many years of training, but it learns so fast. I mean, by the age of 10, you are expected to do something. By the age of 18, you'll be expected to do something else. By the age of 24, you'll be expected to do something else. Brain is evolving constantly. So we'll get so much thing in so less time. But so yeah, so those unknowns I mean, it's not expected that it will be known in the next 10 years, but probably it will take 10 years, 20, 30 years. But once we know all these things, then only we can think of going to the next level of intelligence.
Yeah, of course, of course. And at the end of the day, we will ask more questions even in our research that what kind of do we want quantum computing enabled AI or more around neuromorphic devices, novel architectures
Yes.
ensembles, or just novel architectures are good enough, or you just want more brute force and more data, which is like the current way, I guess. Yes, most of the time we are building these massive networks and we are throwing far more data on it and it consumes more energy, takes time, but yeah, some of it works very well. So till it does not, till it fails.
More, yeah. It's like more questions than answers. We
Yeah,
have
yeah.
we have so many questions, but you have very less answers. So that's
Yeah,
right. That.
it reminds me when I learned Java, so many times what happens is because Java is such a program object-oriented language, so
Mm.
many times you get only one bug, and if you were to correct that bug, then you get 99 bugs. So the answer is not to go back and undo that because that is wrong.
Yeah,
Because that
yeah.
one bug or that one mistake was hiding or encapsulating the 99 other bugs. And now because you
99
have
other
fixed
ones.
it, the pathway is open. Now you can see the 99 bugs and you got to solve all of them.
Yeah, that's right. It
So yeah,
happens.
that is funny, but I think that reminds me of that as you will go down, you will start to see more branching out, and you will start, oh, this is where we could also go, and this is where it can get stuck. And I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how
That's
human knowledge needs to progress here.
it's like going down the rabbit hole, or you're
Yeah, it's
like
going
the
down the rabbit
domino
hole.
effect.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are
Yeah,
talking about becoming chess grandmaster, and it has done some things. I'm not denying it. Like at chess or even at Go, like I do not think any human will beat AI systems anymore. I don't see that happening. Same will
yeah.
is like for classification of X-ray images. In a lot of models, like for lung cancer, it has become pretty good actually. It has even become better than the radiologist in quite a lot of scenarios. So it is at that level, and I think this is all gonna be extremely helpful. And the idea many times I tell people is just imagine that if an AI model is as good as an expert radiologist, I could deploy it through edge devices or some remote devices to some remote villages where, let's say, this expert radiologist would not go willingly. Like maybe they like
Mm,
to work in Mumbai, Delhi. They would not like to go to villages and devote their whole life over there, right? But now this same
correct,
technology will be able to detect lung cancers, people hailing from very poor background from our villages, and they do not have to suffer due to that. So that's something still we can achieve
exactly.
even just with narrow intelligence, and I'm all for it. That there's yes, we should definitely keep developing, keep building this one. Now we have talked about super intelligence, and I still feel that first let's achieve the general intelligence. But yeah,
General
I think
intelligence.
yeah, I think this is something inevitable. Like once you have general intelligence, and if it keeps iterating and keeps becoming better with each iteration, I'm fairly sure that it will reach super intelligence at some point of time. But we never
Mm,
know, maybe we achieve singularity by that point. And maybe all
mm,
of these things do not matter. Maybe machines and maybe humans kind of become almost one, right? Maybe they're implanted within us, and then we don't have to worry about machines conquering humans. Maybe everything is, all the technologies are almost working in conjunction. So you never know like how things are going to turn up after a while.
correct, correct.
It's a difficult call. Like we cannot tell like what's going to
The-
happen after 15, 30 years, but we are extremely optimistic that hopefully it's not going to kill us. So far it has
yeah,
done good. It has done plenty of good for this world, and I'm really hopeful that it is going to be the case,
yeah,
that it's going to keep on improving people's life as well.
correct. Looking
So
to that
I
stage
think,
where,
yeah, so I
yeah,
think
looking to that
there
stage.
would be these questions around vehicle autonomy. So what do you think about autonomous vehicles? You must have given some
Yes,
thought.
yeah, Tesla has. I think I know. Yeah, I have a very good story on that. So I have a friend whose friend is living in. I mean, he lives in abroad. I mean, he went
Mm.
there and studied and kind of settled there. So he bought this Tesla, and he says that he actually goes there. He just sits there in the car. He just tells the destination, just tells
Yeah,
that you go by this route and everything. He just plugs in everything, all the information. It just sits there and the vehicle is going.
yeah,
And after some time, say half an hour, it reaches his destination. He just gets out the car. That's it. So this is convenient. Yes, Tesla has perfected that. Other companies are also going there. But at the same time, you have to understand that it's still a machine. It's not like I mean the way humans drive. Even if you have seen expert drivers and how they manage tricky situations in road
yeah,
and everything, I don't think. I mean, driving through a small lane with I mean, which is crowded, drive your vehicle through that without hitting anyone, and versus going in an open road and everything are two different things. So there are challenges, I think, which eventually will be going there. All these things are being tested. I know there's this self-driving cars are being heavily tested on crowded places, marketplaces, all different kinds of scenarios where they can. So that there are trucks actually, which we actually, I mean, that doesn't have any drivers, but it still kind of carries the load from A to B. So point A to point B in a city. But I think those things, I think it will be a next automated vehicle will be something which we'll be seeing going forward. So there are quite a few sci-fi shows, cartoons, and all which shows people flying around easily and all. So I think those will be the norm, but not now. I think those are being tested.
Yeah.
With self-driving car. I think in the next 30, 40 years, we might see those cars are being used by common people. Right now, it's not as much as accessible because there are very few of them. And so when it becomes at a stage where everyone can use it, so in that scenarios, I think our lives will be a bit easier when you
Yeah.
have something. Yeah. So I think I'm
Absolutely.
go next. That's I said. Next 10 to 20 years is very crucial in AI research. I mean, how it goes in. I mean, how it affects defined domains, including automobiles and everything, trains and everything. So I think in that way we'll see a great implementation of AI, which will make our lives very easier. So yeah.
Of course. Let's hope for that. Yeah, definitely. And we have definitely talked about neuromorphic devices. And again, I'm not going to kind of push back on that. We will have that discussion even in our research. But I think we are definitely betting on these neuromorphic architectures, and because they will be far more closer and much low energy consuming than whatever the current architectures are. So we are definitely very excited about that. And we are looking into definitely neurosymbolic as well. And I think, okay, so I think Tamal will be the right person to explain this. So, Tamal, would you like
Yeah.
to take a stand
Yes.
here?
As you can see, this is a graph of, I mean, the kind of technological advancements that has happened or yet to happen. So the arrow marks you can see are something which are being discussed or at a stage where it is being discussed, like space colonization, human machine convergence. That is the human machine interaction. That is say AGI, which are the artificial narrow intelligence, where we are currently everything here. But all the things in between, human healthy life extension, sports 2.0. I think one huge application of AI is in sports. The way now everyone views sports and the way they are, I mean, all the sports person get trained using AI, all these things. So there are lots of data on hand movement, body movement, so that they can perfect each and everything. I think those things, supply chain, logistics, food, I think the way AI being used in agriculture and all, work, yes. So AI has taken over work completely. I mean, we are using tech-enabled systems which is making our lives easier rather than manual effort which we used to be quite a few years back. I think this graph shows some of the things which are currently being used or some of the things which are in pipeline. I mean, life extension, all these things are being talked about because we are thinking of space colonization. We are thinking how to go to other planets and all, humans can travel. So in that situation, life extension is one thing which which NASA, I think, and
Right.
every other space, including our own ISRO and every other thing. I mean, everyone is thinking about that. I mean, how to go, explore the space, how to explore our solar system. So all these things. So this graph clearly shows some of the things which are is there in the world. I mean, you can go through them and check. So all these things have a clear application of AI, AGI, and I think in these scenarios, autonomous system or a AGI system will be far more, important as compared to now. So we have built the stepping stones. Now just we have to keep on building on it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think there has been a lot of chatter, and these
Yes.
various experts have kind of explained that how these informations and how AI would be, what is the chance of AI, we reaching us to AI. And a lot of people are like, okay, maybe by end of this century, but I'm actually an optimist, and I think it would be fairly much before that, maybe around even 2050 or something. We might even have AGI well within, well realized and maybe well utilized, because the power of computation just keeps on increasing. So once you even have the very naive version available, you are able to achieve the kind of the general iteration or kind of general version fairly soon than what you would have expected. Okay, and again, like what people like again, like at what percentage chance that human level artificial intelligence ever exist? And again, people have given chances and median scenarios. And again, I am around
Yes.
2050, but yes, you can see people are stretching it till 2090 or even 2100. So again, everyone is guessing. Okay, let me be very clear. It's not something that people already know or people are very clear. No, this is just a guess at the end of the day. These are just guesses. And yeah, like kind of I mentioned, like we will not like completely take you to this idea of like because we have mentioned this one. But Jan LeCun's paper again has kind of discussed this idea and where we are talking about these discussions and again we are looking at how we can go and how we will be building, let's say, because as even just if you think an autonomous system, the complexity just keeps on increasing as we go further.
Yes.
The complexity just keeps on increasing.
It's
But I'm
increasing.
extremely positive that we will be able to reach. And once we have some intuition and once we start having a future planning system, I am sure that a level 5 autonomous system will be achieved.
Yes, that's exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So
And we have talked
we
about
are.
like what it will take, right? Like I think with Jan LeCun's paper and some other ideas with novel architectures, I think me and like Kamal have talked very deeply about this question and like what it will take. And this is not an easy diagram. Like Kamal, I think you can appreciate the complexity here that
Yeah,
how
it's very
many
complex.
systems would have to work together to build this kind of a world model, which will just work for almost maybe any scenario and can transfer and let's just hope these things are built and we also will continue and we will do our research in this direction. But it is not that easy. Like as you can see, building the correct world model, intrinsic cost, having the right critic and getting the cost, it's not gonna be easy, is it?
Exactly.
So I think in this discussion, like uh, of course I do not want to again get back to again the same research and all this, but I think classical arguments definitely can be found in the computing machinery and intelligence by Alan M. Turing. That idea where he starts asking can machines think? An amazing book and which I think I will recommend to everyone. God Elisha Bach and Eternal Golden Braid by Douglas R. Hofstadter. It definitely triggers you thinking around artificial intelligence. Very classical discussions will start and this thinking machine idea has been there, like this idea has been there. And but again some people do argue very deeply that it's theoretically impossible to ever achieve an AGI like full generalization. Even Jan LeCun says that human intelligence is not as generalized as you might think. But
Yes.
I would actually argue that rather than asking that do humans have general intelligence, can we figure
Yes.
out an algorithm which could figure out or which could be as general or because of it will be deployed on machines and by being virtue of machines they would just bypass human limitations anyways. So this is something that is my hope, that is my optimism, but I know like a lot of people are in deep objection to these ideas. But anyways, I think we will keep on learning, and there are always negative ideas. So AGI is impossible. There is no something, as I just said, like there's no such thing as general intelligence, and AGI is already there. Like maybe current AI is already producing some form of AGI, which I am not agreeing at all. Okay, I'm just
Yes, it's
no
not.
way, no way. I have checked the answers. Does not looks like. It is
Yeah, that's
just
right.
too thick. And yes, it is too early. No, it is definitely not too early to work on AGI. No, this is the right time if you're not working on AGI right now. At some point, this will be developed. This will be built. And like, see, just with ChatGPT, who was thinking like this? Who knew that
Yeah,
ChatGPT is so
ChatGPT will come.
like I
Yeah,
have given on idea of chatbots. I do not believe I have tried to build chatbots for even for clients, and I have given on this idea that no intelligent chatbot is going to exist. But now we have something which I am very impressed by. And now I can actually recommend if someone wants to build a chatbot, look into ChatGPT.
look
At
into
2 years
yes.
before, if you would have asked me, I would like, I do not know anything which will be like success, getting this success, but it is working out. So you never know.
Correct.
And it's not fruitful. No, I will not say that. Even the miners like simple recommendation engines have been so profitable for Amazon and Google. So yeah, it is definitely fruitful. Even the minor systems are so fruitful. Dangerous? Okay, yes, it could be. Depending how do you use it, how well it is distributed, or what kind of biases it has, it could be extremely dangerous. But it would be too early, a little too early to comment. We will need to see what process as a community we take here. But this is something that we should definitely be looking forward to. And I think rather than going into again discussions, at the end, yes, consciousness would be important, no doubt. But I would say that we need to definitely talk about artificial consciousness and talk more about the lack of consciousness in current robots and AI. But I would also
Yes.
say that maybe we can do things in parallel. We could keep developing AGI and keep including the idea of consciousness or artificial consciousness, but not to over worry about consciousness yet. Even if you have a simple AGI system, I think that would be amazing win for AI researchers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, guys,
Consciousness
I
is the
think
key.
this is something that is I'm very proud to have done this, and this was actually in pipeline
Yes.
for quite some years. And due to so many things, I have been so very busy. But thankfully, me and Tamal found the right time to do this, and now we will
Yes.
be kind of running our own research as well. Anyways,
Exactly.
it was really fun to talk about. And again, there are a lot of topics like AI ethics and whatnot. But I would say that maybe this is the time to kind of wrap it up and kind of think about how do we continue with our research. And and on this note, I would like to thanks all of our viewers who have supported continuously through this journey. All of our friends who have given the encouragement and all kinds of reviews and suggestions. This is all for this video series. Our journey is gonna continue. So we do want to make sure you stay in touch and continue your journey in AI, and make sure if you have any problems or if you want to contribute to our research, write to us at the agipodcast at gmail.com. Uh, my name is Amritansh. He is Tamal, and definitely Tamal, I would like to thank you because this video has been in making for quite some time, but I was just never
Yeah.
able to find the time. But thanks for all your hard work and diligent work that we are here
Yeah.
and
Thank
we have been able to complete. So thanks,
you. Yeah.
thanks so much.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you, Amritans, for the guidance and actually coming up with this concept. So yeah, it was a very nice learning journey. Got to know a lot of things. So yeah, thank you for the support.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And we will continue for everyone. We will continue our research. And if anyone wants to join us, do reach out to us on this email. And
Yep.
this is an exciting journey. And may in future we again may decide to discuss our research or really dig deep into some concepts. So again, this channel will be open. We are not closing down the channel. And we might come up with a new different video series that might be a little more research oriented. So
Yes.
fingers crossed, but I'm really hopeful that it will happen very soon in the future. And we
Yep.
are exploring how to continue to grow our tribe and how to connect with more researchers and people who are looking into doing the research. But that's all for
Mhm.
future. Thank you all,
Thank
and
you.
we'll see
Thank
you
you
in
all.
future. Thank you. Bye bye. Take
Thank
care.
you. Say bye.
Bye. Take care, guys.
Bye.